In July 2020, the granddaughter of a Manson family victim was discovered by a friend deceased in her Colorado apartment. Ariana Wolk had been brutally stabbed to death, meeting the same violent end as that suffered by her grandmother 5 decades earlier. Neighbors recounted seeing Ariana earlier in the day, and she was not alone. What these witnesses told detectives was not only revealing but also deeply disturbing. On Friday, July 3rd, just before 9:30 p.m., a call was placed to Denver 911 from a resident of an apartment building on North Oneida Street. The caller explained that a man had knocked on their door moments earlier, stating that they arrived at the unit upstairs to find their friend who lived there dead. The friend who discovered the body explained to police what happened. They had gone to Sonic and then to their own house. They were there the whole time. They just came back to Ariana's apartment, walked inside, and found that the back door was open. They walked inside and called out hello. Then they walked in and found Ariana in the bedroom. When asked when they returned back to the apartment, the friend said that when Ariana called earlier, they went upstairs scared, went inside, saw her, walked outside, went straight downstairs, and asked the neighbor to call 911 because their phone was actually in Ariana's room. 40-year-old Ariana Wolk was found on her bedroom floor near the closet. The single mother of a young son was pronounced dead by paramedics upon their arrival. She had suffered nearly 20 stab wounds, many to her back and neck. The friend who had discovered Ariana told officers on scene that she had been struggling recently with alcohol addiction. They were staying at the apartment temporarily to assist her sobriety. Ariana's son was with other family on the night of her death. That day, Ariana had plans to attend a barbecue with her boyfriend. The friend explained that earlier that day before they left, Ariana asked them to go with her to the park. The friend said no, explaining they needed to go home because they hadn't been able to change or do anything in 2 days. So they said they were going. Ariana was supposed to be going to City Park for a barbecue with her boyfriend. That was the last thing the friend knew. Officers then spoke with the neighbor who called 911. That individual had seen Ariana earlier in the day and she had not been alone. The neighbor described the man that she saw with Ariana that night. When asked what time that day the neighbor saw him, she struggled to remember exactly. The officer asked if it was light outside or dark outside. The neighbor said she was closing her blinds toward 9 p.m. and saw him. She looked out the back window and he was there. He went around the back part. He came in through the gate, went into the gate and around to the end. She shut her blind after that. When asked if the man was white or black, the neighbor said white. The downstairs neighbor told the officer on scene that the unknown man knocked on her door around 8:45 p.m. He wanted to speak with her about what he said was Ariana's strange behavior. The neighbor explained that he came downstairs twice and asked if he could come in and talk to her about Ariana. She told him no, to stand outside and talk through the door. He explained that he didn't like the way Ariana was acting weird and everything, talking about how she was going to do something to herself because she was acting strange. He said okay and went back upstairs, but said he was leaving. But then, like she said, about a half an hour later, she saw him in the back of her yard because her dog was out there. When asked to confirm the timeline, the neighbor said at 8:45 p.m. she saw him, and about 9:15 p.m. was when she saw him again in the backyard. After stating that Ariana was a threat to herself, the man said he was leaving, except he didn't. The neighbor saw him in the backyard just a half an hour later and he was shirtless. It was only 15 minutes after that when Ariana's friend found her on the bedroom floor. Ariana had lived on Oneida Street alone for only a short time. Her on-again, off-again boyfriend had moved out only a few months prior to her death. Described by friends as a sweet person and a loving mother, she was known for her generous spirit, her silliness, and positive personality. Ariana was born on Easy Street in Penn Valley, California, into a family that had experienced tragedy years before. In August 1969, her mother, Susan LaBianca, had discovered her own mother, Rosemary, and stepfather, Leno LaBianca, brutally murdered in their Los Angeles home, victims of Charles Manson and his followers. The LaBianca murders took place the night following the infamous killing of actress Sharon Tate and 4 of her companions. Manson was reportedly unhappy with how the Tate murders had gone down. Too much panic, insufficient weapons. So the next night, he took the 4 murderers from the night before, as well as 2 more followers, in search of another house to break into and more people to murder. For reasons that are debated, he chose the home of Leno LaBianca, who was a wealthy grocery store executive. He and wife Rosemary, Ariana's grandmother, were brutally murdered. Rosemary was found in the living room, Leno in the bedroom. Each had been stabbed dozens of times. Ariana was born in 1979, 10 years after the killings. At 40 years old, she was just 2 years older than her grandmother had been when she too was stabbed to death in her home. Shortly after officers secured the scene and began interviewing witnesses, detectives arrived. They found what appeared to be a trail of blood beginning in the bedroom through the living room on the floor and leading into the kitchen. There was a folding knife with blood on it in the kitchen sink as well as residue on the faucet. The obvious suspect was Ariana's sometimes boyfriend, a man named Patrick. Friends reported that she was meant to meet with him that day. There was also a history of domestic violence in their relationship. In fact, Patrick was on pretrial release from an incident that took place between the two of them in May of that year. Since then, he had been living out of his car. Patrick sat down with detectives the day following the murder. When asked if he was anywhere near the Oneida Street address at all yesterday, Patrick said the closest he was to there was the Walgreens. When asked what time that was, he said around 2 o'clock or 3 p.m., right after a barbecue. When asked if he had any contact with Ariana yesterday in person, he said yes. The detective confirmed this was at the Walgreens. Patrick confirmed yes at the Walgreens. The detective asked him to do them a favor and put his hands out, then turn his hands over. Patrick complied. Patrick told the detective that he spoke with Ariana briefly at a Walgreens the afternoon before she died. She seemed to have been drinking, he said, and was too inebriated to continue with their plans, so he left. He also introduced another line of inquiry. Patrick stated that Ariana was quick to make new friends. He claimed that she had a habit of inviting strangers back to her apartment. Often, these were individuals without a home of their own. According to Patrick, she befriended random people on the street. Patrick explained that the thing with Ariana was that if she got intoxicated, she brought home people, vagrants. He said he used to be homeless himself, so he understood. She would bring home complete strangers and just put trust in them. When asked what he meant by that, he said things like giving someone her debit card and telling them to go to the store. No thought process when drinking about people taking advantage or doing stuff like that. When asked how often she was bringing people to the house, Patrick said frequently. Like daily. He clarified it wasn't anything inappropriate, just friendly, trying to feed them and help them out. When Patrick encountered Ariana at the Walgreens, he said that she was with an unknown young man. They had just met on the street while on her way to the store only minutes before. When asked if she was with anyone, Patrick said she was intoxicated and was with a younger 20-year-old kid. When asked what the kid looked like, Patrick described him as kind of flamboyant with dark hair. When asked if the person was white, black, or Hispanic, Patrick said white. When asked to explain what he meant by flamboyant, Patrick said the person had a gay or stylish haircut. He was trying not to be derogatory. Patrick said the person was younger, like 20 years old. Ariana had told him the person was 20. She said something like she had met this gay 20-year-old. When asked if Patrick remembered what the person was wearing, he said he might have had a red shirt, but he only briefly saw him. When asked if Ariana introduced him, Patrick said she did, but he didn't remember the name. She said she met him supposedly while walking from Oneida to Walgreens. While detectives spoke with Patrick, they also verified his alibi. One condition of his pretrial release was an ankle monitor. Pretrial services tracked Patrick's GPS from that device on the day of the murder and found that he was not at Ariana's address at any time. He was eliminated as a suspect in her murder. As strange as it seemed, Patrick was not the only one to tell detectives that Ariana had a habit of inviting vagrants to her home. Returning to the neighbors in her building, they spoke with the son of one tenant who was frequently visiting the downstairs apartment. He not only confirmed that seeing Ariana with new people regularly was common, but he also described seeing a man that matched the description provided by Patrick. The young man explained that Ariana had so many new faces all the time, new people upstairs every time. After Patrick left, her boyfriend or whatever, after he left, she had so many people coming by. Every day. When asked if he saw the neighbor at the house that day, he said yes. She was coming from the liquor store, he guessed. She had a dog and was walking with the dog. When asked if she was with anyone else at that time, he said no initially. But when asked if he heard or saw somebody else, he said he saw this guy he had never seen before. His mom said she had seen him too. When asked what the guy looked like, the young man said it was a Mexican guy with a box cut. He saw them really well when Ariana fell down the stairs at the back door. Her foot was way up on the top step. He thought the guy had pushed her. Her foot was on the top step and the young man asked if the guy pushed her. The guy said no. Ariana said no, explaining that he was gay. Surveillance video from a camera on East Colfax Avenue and North Monaco Street at 5:15 p.m. on July 3rd showed Ariana walking eastbound on the street in the company of a man with black hair. Her friend's small dog walked with them. The man was wearing all black with bright red shoes. They were captured crossing the street and continuing in the direction of Ariana's apartment on Oneida. On Colfax Street, the two had entered a store that was equipped with internal security cameras. Still images from these cameras showed the man in black carrying a clear plastic Starbucks cup filled with a pink drink. He also had a distinctive tattoo on his left forearm. It was the Starbucks cup that detectives narrowed in on. One similar to it had been discarded on the front yard of Ariana's building and spotted by officers. That cup was later recovered from the lawn and sent for testing. Fingerprints pulled from the plastic returned a match. José Sandoval Romero. He was 24 years old with a matching build to the man in the surveillance. He had short dark brown hair and a red tattoo on his arm which appeared to match the one captured on camera.
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you and back to the video.
On July 7th, José was brought into the station for questioning. Unlike Patrick, who had no visible cuts or scratches on his hands or arms, José had two separate partially healed cuts to his right hand. It was a telltale sign consistent with a knife slipping as he made stabbing motions. These cuts were also thought to be the cause of the blood droplets observed on the living room and kitchen floors at the murder scene. Complaining of light sensitivity, José wore his sunglasses for most of the interview. He began by explaining how he had encountered Ariana that afternoon while she was arguing with Patrick. José described how all of a sudden, this lady and this guy were fighting outside of a Walgreens. The lady started coming up to him asking if he was okay. He asked if he knew her and if that was her boyfriend, wondering if the boyfriend was going to try to beat him up if he talked to her. The boyfriend got out of the car and tried to talk to her, but she said he had a restraining order on her or something, or an ankle bracelet. José told her she didn't need to cry, that it was okay. José claimed Ariana kept telling him that she wanted to put some type of drug in him because she did these types of drugs to herself. She said she put frog poisoning in her body and wanted him to go with her and do the same thing. He told her no, he didn't know anything about that stuff. When detectives confirmed they were talking about the Walgreens next to Frosted Leaf, José said yes. The detective summarized that José ran into this lady and this guy. They were arguing, the guy ended up leaving, and then José and Ariana continued on together. José said that after Patrick left, he and Ariana purchased food for a man they encountered in the alleyway. After that, he was compelled to help her home because she did not appear capable of getting there on her own. He continued to insist that he did not want to go with her, that her strange references to feeding him frog poison frightened him. José described how they gave the homeless man the food, and then from there Ariana kept stumbling on the ground. She had a dog and a bunch of stuff she was carrying. She told him she couldn't make it home by herself and pleaded for him to come with her. He said he really didn't want to hang out with her, that there was something wrong with her, she had so much stuff, and for some reason she just kept stumbling on the ground. José did agree to help Ariana home. Once inside, he made her a cup of tea. He claimed to be unaware that she was intoxicated, primarily because he did not see her actually consume any alcohol. He did, however, know that something was not quite right. José described how he told Ariana to let him make her some tea, make her some coffee, do anything to make her feel better. He started making her coffee and tea. She would just keep crying and would just keep trying to fight with him. At some point, she just started actually trying to fight with him. And after that, he just kind of lost it. He said what happened in there was kind of just self-explanatory. The portion of the story that José believed was self-explanatory was that he proceeded to stab Ariana multiple times in the back. They had met only hours earlier. At first, the 24-year-old claimed that he had tried to leave. He went to the downstairs neighbor and told her that Ariana was acting strangely. He claimed this was in order to help Ariana, so he could leave knowing that the neighbor would check in on her later. José described how he went downstairs and told the neighbor that this lady was crazy and he had to go. There was something wrong with her. He asked if in a couple hours the neighbor could come and check up on her. He said he was trying to go and wasn't trying to comfort this girl. He asked the neighbor to please go and check up on Ariana. According to José, the neighbor said the thing about Ariana was that they were worried and scared of her and didn't know what to do. She said she would just call the cops because she wasn't going to be dealing with Ariana. She said she was too old for this and that. José said okay, he would handle it then. But instead of leaving, he went back to the apartment. Then he said that Ariana began messing with his head. José told detectives a confusing cocktail of motives for the killing. His overarching assertion was that Ariana convinced him to kill her. He claimed they came to an agreement about it and that in a matter of only a few hours, he came to believe it was the only way to help her. But he also played with the idea that he was defending himself by claiming that she threatened him, that her boyfriend was on his way to the apartment with another man and they planned to kill him. Finally, he asserted that Ariana had abruptly turned violent at one point, coming at him with the knife. He managed to fight her off, though the attack made him angry. José said he didn't know how she did it. She just played him. Every time he would leave her, she would stumble on the ground and make him feel bad. Every time he said no, he had to go, something wasn't right with her, she would stumble on the ground and cry. He said she just played him. But he admitted he pretty much played himself by listening to her. He insisted she drugged him and told him certain things. The detective tried to clarify. They said José was telling them, and to correct them if they weren't understanding correctly, that he thought the only way to help her was to kill her. José said she was going to have her boyfriend show up. She called her boyfriend and he didn't know what they talked about, but she pretty much told him that they were going to die that day. She talked him into it and he listened. That was it. When asked why he didn't call 911, José said because her boyfriend. She told him her boyfriend and her gay boyfriend's friend were going to come and kill him. They had this plan. The detective said so instead, José killed her. José said she wanted to kill him. When asked if when he stabbed her it was because he was trying to help her or because he was mad, José said it was both. That was the only way things could get mixed up. José approached Ariana when she entered her bedroom and was walking towards her closet. He claimed he stabbed her twice. When the detective asked if when Ariana walked into the bedroom toward her closet, if that was the first time José stabbed her, he said yes. The detective confirmed that she was facing away from him. José said well yeah, she was walking toward the closet. The detective said after she did what? José said after she took the knife out and pretty much tried to stab him and stumbled, he took it away. The detective confirmed, and then she walks into the bedroom towards the closet. José said yes. The detective said José followed her into the bedroom, and that was the first time he stabbed her. José confirmed. So she was facing her closet and José was behind her. José said she was running for something. After the murder, José fled the scene and disposed of evidence. He stripped off all of his clothing as he left the apartment and threw them in a nearby dumpster along with his shoes. He spent the next several days at his mother's house watching the door, waiting to see if law enforcement would find him. The detective pointed out that if José had enough thought to get rid of his bloody clothes because he was thinking he had blood all over his clothes from stabbing this woman to death, then the detective thought José understood what he was doing. José said they both understood what they were doing. The detective asked José to do them a favor and take those glasses off. The detective said they didn't think José was giving them the whole truth. They thought he was trying to spin it a little. José insisted that she convinced him. She made him do it. The detective asked how old José was. He said 24 years old. The detective asked who could make him do anything. José said nobody. The detective said right, so nobody made him stab her. José agreed that nobody made him stab her. The detective said José decided to stab her. José said well, she talked him into it. He said they would never believe it. How could they believe it? Because he couldn't get talked into killing somebody. The detective said no, people can't get talked into killing people. José was trying to paint this in a picture that made it most acceptable. José said no, he wasn't. The detective said, but what happened here wasn't acceptable. José stabbed this poor drunk lady about 20 times while she was down on her bedroom floor. José interjected that she wasn't drunk and he didn't know she was drunk. The detective said it was one of the worst stabbings they had seen in their 23 years of law enforcement. And then José was smart enough to get out of there, destroy the evidence, evade their efforts to locate him, and go down to the springs. Following his confession, José Sandoval Romero pleaded guilty to the murder. In early 2023, he was sentenced to 48 years in prison. His earliest date of release is in July 2055. Ariana's mother, Susan, was 72 years old when her daughter was murdered. She told media outlets at the time that she was grieving the loss of her daughter and was too upset to comment. A GoFundMe page was created by Ariana's sister Rami to help raise money to bring her body back to California. She also set up a separate fundraiser to help create a trust fund for Ariana's young son. And that was the tragic case of Ariana Wolk, a woman with a kind heart who tried to help those in need, only to lose her life at the hands of someone she tried to help. A woman whose tragic death eerily mirrored the violent end her grandmother met 5 decades earlier at the hands of the Manson family. Every crime leaves a trace, and we're here to follow them. Subscribe for more real, haunting stories you won't forget.